Hello YouTube, thanks for tuning in. This is the first common sense gun review of this channel. I hope to be bringing you a lot more, but we're going to get right into it. Today we're reviewing the American Tactical Fatboy LW. LW standing for lightweight. This is a compact 1911 frame 45 auto. It is, as I said, my personal carry weapon. I love this weapon. And I have a lot of good things to say about it and a few negatives. So right off the bat, let you see this weapon is safe, nothing in the chamber, mag well's empty, magazine is here, there are no rounds in it, so safe review for those of you who are safety sticklers, which I am too. So let's talk about the pros real quick about this weapon. We're doing a common sense review. This is not a review of the schematics, the weight, all the tactical applications. That's not what this is for. This is, do you want to get this weapon and carry it for your personal defense or your home defense? That's all I'm covering, guys. Just giving you kind of an insight to this weapon. It's a 1911, which is over a century-old design that is tried and tested in combat and in modern law enforcement and in civilian use. Great weapon. Very comfortable design. It is, of course, the compact model, so it's not the size of your regular 1911. It is shorter, a little squatter, very easily concealed and carried, and being the LW, the lightweight model, a lot lighter. You will put on a standard 1911, it's like carrying a brick of iron around with you all day. I've done it. This is just a much nicer option. So concealability, carryability, very high rated. It will feed anything you give it. I have taken this weapon to the range, put many a round through it. Brass case, hollow points, round nose, hardball, aluminum case, steel case, both lacquered and non-lacquered. And I know they say don't use steel case, but I've never had a problem with it. I'll get into some videos where I have had a couple issues with steel case, but not in a semi-automatic pistol of this type. This feeds everything you put in it. No jams, no fails to feed, no failures to eject, no stovepipes. This has just been a absolutely flawlessly performing weapon. Recoil. It's a 45 auto. You're not going to pick up a 45 auto and think, oh, this will be like shooting a 22. If you do, you're silly. You need to go do a little bit more training with firearms. 45 auto is a big, stupid, ugly round. I have one off to the side here to show you a size comparison. It's just a meaty round with a lot of power behind it and some pretty sharp recoil. In this particular weapon, that recoil is managed beautifully. You would think that with the lightweight, the size, and this very short barrel, you would think that you would have just ungodly recoil. No, it is extremely manageable. Put it on level with any 9mm I own. It is just very comfortable to shoot, which is surprising for a 45 auto compact. Feels great in the hand. Obviously I have big mitts, as you can see here. You're like, well, you could probably handle anything with the recoil. I notice recoil like anybody. I'm any other human being. Recoil is recoil. This particular weapon just manages it very well. Holsters. We're talking about a carry weapon here, so I'm going to talk a little bit about holsters. I'm not going to get into details about holsters because holsters are different for everybody. But this one, pretty much any holster you can imagine under the sun exists for this weapon because, as I said, it is a prevalent, popular design. Been around since, you guessed it, 1911. So anything you can imagine is out there for this weapon. It's easy to find a good holster for this. So a lot of guns you go out there and buy, you know, something brand new, they don't have a lot of holster options for it yet, or some of your budget guns, which this is a budget gun, I'll talk about that here in a minute, but some of your budget guns don't have a lot of holster options. Being a 1911 frame weapon, it is easy to find a holster, so definitely a pro. Dual safety. This is, as I said, a 1911, so you've got your thumb brakes, your thumb switch safety right here, which is great. You've also got the standard 1911 grip safety, or the beaver tail, some folks call it, or dovetail, or however you want to call it. But this weapon is not going to drop that hammer if you have that thumb safety up and you are not touching that grip safety by holding the weapon, that hammer's going nowhere. It is locked in position. That's why a lot of people, when they carry these, they'll carry it in what they call cocked and locked. They'll have one in the chamber, the hammer back, to where when they draw that weapon, they've already got the grip safety engaged. They just drop the thumb safety and they're ready to rock and roll. The weapon was designed for that. You know, a lot of folks, you can go watch other videos about, you know, carry cocked and locked or don't, carry one in the chamber or don't. That's not what this video is about. I'm just telling you, this is just like any other 1911, you have that option. So, great double safeties on this weapon. The trigger on this is beautiful. For a budget gun clone of a 1911, this has got one of the best triggers I've ever felt. Single action only, obviously. A lot of you know, your lower priced weapons have triggers, they're just crunchy. They're not really smooth. This one is almost smooth as silk. I love the trigger on this weapon. You know, and I wouldn't put it in, you know, custom job level, but it is just smooth. Single action obviously doesn't take a lot of pressure to make it go, but you know, it's nice. The return on that trigger, the reset, it's nearly impossible to show you on a video, but the reset on this is very short, so you can get a lot of rounds down range pretty easily. The slide grooves, you know, you've got your standard 1911 serrations here that help you get a grip, move the slide back. They've also put a set on the front, which I'm spoiled now. Any weapon I have that doesn't have that, I get a little cranky, because that is just a great feature. I love that. Very, very good thinking on the part of ATI. And then let's talk about the magazines on this thing. Now, as you probably noticed, it's a little thicker in the grip. Baby got back. This gun is a double stack magazine 45 auto. Your standard 1911 back in the day came with 7 or 8 round magazines, single stack, you know, a little bit thinner grip. This one, it's a little beefier in the hand, fits my hand beautifully. I don't think really anybody would have a lot of trouble with this one as far as grip size, but you know, try it out yourself. But this magazine is a double stack 45 auto 12 round magazine. That's hard to find in a 45 auto, especially one at this price point. This is it's a great feature for this weapon. It gives you a lot of firepower in a compact size. So 12 rounds of 45 auto in the mag. So that's the pros on this weapon, guys. The things that make me very excited about it and the reasons I carry it every day. Let's talk about a few of the cons, though. They exist. I'm not so much of a fanboy of this weapon that I can't identify the things that they could have done a little better. The first thing is your sights. I'm very unhappy with these sights. I will be replacing them eventually. But the sights on this are just very basic. ATI could have done a better job on the sights. It's a standard front blade sight with a white dot, and then your rear sight is just a notch with no dots whatsoever. Very awkward to use in lower light conditions. I don't like the sights on this at all. They're not adjustable. There's a single Allen screw here that holds this in place. You can probably adjust it a little bit left and right, but it is just not a good option for the sights. They could have done better. The slide release. I don't know if you can see or not here in the video, but the release for the slide sits almost flush to the grip frame. And the reason that's an issue is when you're holding this weapon, there's 2 ways to drop the slide. You can just pull back and let it go, or you can use the slide release. And I'm not really a guy that often uses a slide release. I usually pull back and drop, but that slide release is there for a reason. And the way that this one is designed, it is almost unusable. Not completely. I'm not going to knock it all the way down, but it is hard to get to that because it sits so close flush to the frame. Maybe they did that for concealability, but I don't really buy that because the safety sticks out farther than the slide release. So they could have beefed up that slide release a little bit without a lot of headache, I think. So that is a con in my opinion. That's more of a personal preference, I guess. Another personal preference is the mag well on this weapon. It's a mag well. It's just a hole in the gun you stick the magazine in. But I think they could have beveled this a little bit to make getting that magazine in there in a slightly stressful situation of a tactical reload. They could have made that a little easier with a little beveling. I don't think it would have cost them that much. But, you know, if wishes were fishes. So the mag well is an issue for me, but definitely not a deal breaker. The grips. This is probably my biggest gripe on this weapon. You know, grips to me, I like a good feeling grip, and I'm not a fan of plastic. I mean, your mileage may vary on that, but I like a wooden or maybe even a rubberized grip. These are just plastic. They're checkered, you get a good feel to them, but they're plastic. I could have gone with something a little bit more on that. And they're proprietary to the weapon. I've scoured looking for companies that do custom grips on these. They don't exist. ATI doesn't offer any other options on these grips. You're stuck with these grips unless you have the ability to make your own, or you know somebody that can make them. You're stuck. So I'm not a big fan of the grips. The mag release, it's a standard 1911 mag release. It's a button on the left side of the gun for righties to use their thumb and drop that mag. A lot of modern firearms make these now to where it can be switched out for left-handed shooters, where you've got it on the right side of the gun for your left thumb. Not this one. I've seen 1911s that have that option to switch that. Could have done that, ATI. For the price you're charging, again, I know it's a bargain gun, but I think that would have been a fairly simple change. You cannot change it yourself. And then let's talk about the magazines. We're talking mag release. I mentioned the magazine is a pro. It is a pro. But it's also a negative because these magazines will run you $47.95 a piece. I mean, not hideous for a magazine, but, you know, it's not a discount. And the only place you can get them that I've been able to find so far after a lot of searching is ATI. ProMag, MechGar, Midway, nobody carries magazines for this gun except ATI. And if ATI has a shortage and runs out, you're stuck. So that's a negative to me. I would have liked to have seen maybe some secondary market magazines. Maybe somebody will pick them up eventually, but this gun's been out for a little while. I would have thought somebody would have picked up on them. So that is a negative in my opinion. Higher price magazines and only one source. And finally, the packaging for this gun. Now, as I said, I got this secondhand at a pawn shop. Nothing wrong with buying pawn shop guns. I'll do a video in the future explaining some things to look out for when you buy a used gun. But that's all for another video. Got this used. It was very well cared for. But exactly as you see it is exactly how I got it. The person who brought it to them did not bring them the box or anything, so I walked out with the pistol as you see it. Did some research though with ATI, and I found out what does come with them new. It does come with a box, but it's just a plain cardboard box. No spare magazine. You get the manual for the gun, one magazine, and a box. That's it. For the price point that they charge, I think brand new these guns run close to $600, maybe a little less. I would expect a little more in the packaging. Give me a reloader, you know, a magazine loader. What does that cost you? 80 cents a piece of plastic? Come on, guys. I would like to see a spare mag come with these. Heck, I'll pay a little more for it, brand new, if it comes with 2 mags. Just some other little goodies in the box other than just a cardboard box. You could have done better there. Again, you get what you pay for. It is a bargain pistol. You know, your standard Colts of this type or Springfields can run you $1,100–1,200. So this is not a bad buy at any consideration, but they could have done a little better with the packaging. So, in my opinion, the pros outweigh the cons. That's why I carry this gun every day. It is my standard go-to carry weapon. I'm a guy who will trade firearms. I like my handguns. But this one I think is going to be a permanent resident, and there's not a lot I say that about, guys. To me, every gun's a goer, but I think this one's going to stay because it's fun to shoot, it's comfortable to shoot, it is a awesome weapon to carry. There's times when I forget it's even there. It's not weighing me down. Highly recommend this weapon for anybody who is looking for a good, solid 1911 style 45 auto to carry. So that's all I can say about it, guys. It's a common sense point of view review. Does it work or doesn't it? It works, and it works well. So my highest praise for this particular weapon, the American Tactical Fatboy. Recommend you pick one up if you see one and you have an interest in this type of weapon. Thank you for tuning in. I intend to do a lot more videos of common sense reviews. Feel free to leave your comments, even some suggestions, or I mean, I'm not going to recommend complaints, mainly because I don't really care. You know, I care about your opinion, but I'm not going to get into you know, peeing contests with you. I'm not here to be specific on all of the specs and whatnot of the weapon. I'm here to give you just a common sense, average Joe carrying the weapon point of view. So if you're looking for a lot more detail, please research this weapon on YouTube. There are lots of other videos out there that cover more of the specs on this one. I am just trying to give you the average Joe review on it because there's not a lot of them out there on this. So hope you enjoyed it. I hope to give you a lot more videos to watch in the future, and look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks, and have a great night.